And that's it. Cut the music. Otherwise, it just gets awkward for a few seconds while we sit there nodding along, just waiting for it to peacefully die down. Welcome back to another episode, my lords, ladies, and gentlemen. I hope this message, this day, this episode, our faces find you well and you're enjoying your day, whatever it is that you're up to. Gentlemen, how are we this fine Friday afternoon? How's your world? Presumably wet still if it's in England.
I mean, I was good before we started, and that piece of music has just taken me to 11, I think.
Oh.
Dang. Oh my God.
Robert John
I
Collins
am
for the win.
good. Yeah, I mean, that's like victory, that is. But yes, it is soggy. It's always soggy, isn't it? I think Wednesday it was 16 degrees. I was wearing shorts. Those days are gone
Nice.
now. Those days are gone. We're back into February. But life. How are you, Bob? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Looking forward to this as always with Kieran. You never know what you're going to get, but I'm sure it's going to be good.
I never know what we're going to get, Bob, if I'm honest with you. Rule of life.
Well, how about we just jump straight in then? Kieran, tell us what's been on your mind these past couple of weeks. I hear tell that it's been quite a poignant piece of intellectual stuff that you've been dealing with yourself.
I've been running down a philosophical road, which is out of character for me, if I'm honest with you. But we'll come into it. But I'll tell you what, the thing that's been on my mind the most, and this is going to start to sound a bit like an advert. It's not. Bear with me. So there's a baker. There's a baker up in Leeds, and he's got a store up in Manchester. It's called Get Baked, and it is
Great name.
incredible. Like, honestly, he's killed it. There is no getting around it at all. However, his baked goods are untouchable. Like, just he's mastered the art of delivering amazing cakes through the post 99.9% of the time. However, he did like a special cake. He did a red velvet special, which I missed because, again, he's very smart with his marketing. He does kind of very specifically timed drops. So people are queuing on the internet to order these cakes. But he did a red velvet, and the red velvet, they had one batch apparently that just didn't quite hit the mark. It didn't quite deliver the right standard. And to be fair to them, they're normally very very on point with this. You know, he's got a wonky corner on his website that if a piece of cake just isn't perfect, it goes into the wonky box and people can buy it for a little bit less. But these red velvets, they escaped. They got through. They made it past. And a couple of people had some thoughts about the red velvet cake, and the thoughts were not great.
Of course they did.
Most people were like, it's amazing. But there was a small percentage like, this is awful. It's dry. It's not what I expect. And this guy's like, he's created almost a cult. No, it's not almost a cult. It is a cult. It is a cult of cake. And if I'm honest with you, I will lean into a cult of cake any day of the week.
Oh, hell yeah.
But even with, yeah, I mean, you're there, aren't you? Like, you're
Yeah.
buying into it. You want to be a part of it. You know it makes
Oh, hell
sense.
yeah.
It might take me to a sugary coma, early grave, but still, I will be joyous as I fall. And he's built this thing. It's amazing. But he's got this moment where everybody celebrates him and kind of gives him his props. And as the kids would say, he has his flowers. I don't know what that really means, to be fair, but they say it a lot. But in this one moment, it switched from Rich and Get Baked are absolutely killing it to, oh my God, the standard, it's unacceptable. And all of a sudden, these passionate people who've supported him and bought his products, and these are not cheap Get Baked products, I'll be honest with you. I ordered a cake for Christmas, a pie, a Caramac pie, which I shouldn't have done.
Oh,
And it was half price and it was 30 quid. So
Wow.
regularly people are paying £60 for a pie. And it's a good pie. It's a
Yeah.
great pie, Bob. Like, you'd love it. It'd bring joy to your heart. But people are spending this amount of money and they're buying into it and they're loving it. But this particular moment where it just didn't quite go right, they flipped. And they flipped to kind of leaving negative Google reviews. And we all know full well, if you're an e-commerce business, if you are leaving negative Google reviews for that, then that person's going to struggle. It's going to give them a hit, and that's not what we're in it for. And it got me thinking of, like, if this cult of cake is able to flip so swiftly and so without conscience, why? And how do we change that? How do we avoid that? And I went down the road of thinking about kind of life in hospitality, and taking my kind of dim and distant memories of being an operator. We've talked about it before. I'm old now. I was young then, and I was vibrant, less so. But and I was kind of thinking, what did we do within my teams and within my businesses to avoid that moment where something goes wrong and people run straight away to leaving negative reviews? Because something's always going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
And that ties into my philosophical wonderings and musings, and the fact that kind of I saw a thing from a Buddhist monk talking about the broken cup, and he talked about the idea of the broken cup, fundamentally being that in this moment, this cup is here and it is joyous and it's beautiful, but he knows full well that it's going to be broken at some point. And whether that's today, tomorrow, 5 years down the line, the cup will break. The question is, in the moment, did it serve its purpose? Did it bring you the joy? Did it do what it was supposed to do? The broken cup theory applies neatly to this particular cake situation where something's gone wrong, something that is truly wonderful. And honestly, go to his Instagram and do yourself a favor and order a cake. I wish I had an affiliate code that kind of would get me paid, but it just doesn't. But I'm just saying, you'll enjoy it. And go and check it out. And just go and check out his Instagram page and the flurry of love and the kind of the energy for what he does and how he does it, because this guy's interesting. He's got no shame. He says exactly how it is. He's a funny dude, which helps tremendously, and he's the face of his business. And I kind of genuinely went down this road of thinking, why are the general public so comfortable with the idea of just flipping on a sixpence and going from being massive brand advocates to huge brand detractors? And that bothers me, to be fair, because life's hard. Like, if you're in business right now, it's tough. There's no getting around it. Like, there are no easy days. That's just a fact. People look at this guy and they go, like, oh, he's making loads. He's got 2 shops now. He's got a brand new factory up in Headingley. He's knocking out cakes left, right, and centre. Cake's like 30 quid a cake, like 8, 9 quid a slice. He's making loads of money. Well, he's not making loads of money. Like, he's got costs. That's the fact. So when somebody decides all of a sudden that one little bit of dry red velvet cake is the thing where I'm going to flip myself and I'm going to write a review. I'm going to Google and I'm going to say bad things. I'm not going to mention every other cake, every piece of sweet treat goodness that I've enjoyed from there that's made me happy and brought me joy. I won't talk about those things because they are irrelevant in this moment, because all that matters now is the negativity. And that's the same in my world, in our restaurant world. It is infuriating. I mean, I look at kind of TripAdvisor and Google reviews now. Happily, like I say, back in my day, just the Google reviews were not such a big deal. But fundamentally, you hear that the thing that truly will always rock my world is the line, and there's just one line every single time. I've been here loads of times before and it's been amazing, but this time really let me down.
Yes.
I'm like, can I just check your Google review history, your TripAdvisor review history, and see how many times you've written to say what an amazing time you've had? Did you do that? Or did you just like sit quietly and go, that was good, I enjoyed that, and I've kept that to myself? But the one moment, it wasn't quite perfect. Oh my gosh. I'll go and tell everybody who's willing to listen, and some people who have no interest in listening, but still I'm going to go and tell them, because that's my right. It is my privilege, it's my joy, it's my willing, it's my want. Stop it, I tell you, stop it. So the question is, how do we change those behaviors? The idea of getting on a call with you two, just to talk about this, made perfect sense to me, because, well, you're experts in kind of the psychology and the behavior, and I'm a bit of an expert in kind of hospitality and how do we influence people from within there. So really, what I'm looking for from this, fellas, is for us to be able to walk away with a really clearly defined plan about how we can stop people from being dicks.
Would that we could. Would that we could.
Oh, I'm an optimist. I am an optimist. There's no getting around it at all.
That's the,
So when I think about it, go on, Bob.
One basic thing, isn't there? There's we do like consistency.
Yes.
That is just a human thing. We like to have and continuity as well. So I suppose in that way, that is what's throwing them, is that they're always good, and then they're not. Then that will throw people. And then I suppose if you add into that mix the fact that we like to complain, online allows us to do that with anonymity. We can step away from it and still make those comments and it's not like we're saying it to a person to their face. I suppose you add those two into it, then that might be one of the basis of it, I think. One of the things I'm talking about with people, I'm going next week to someone we know very well, Kieran, and I always talk to them about, the customer experience and its consistency and continuity
Hmm.
on, on a basis for that. So I think at a very minimal level, that would come into it.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all. I think the first time we give somebody a reason or indeed an excuse, then
Yeah,
they'll take it. Is the
yeah.
thing, because you're
I
right.
think
That
it's
level
more
of
the excuse than the
well,
reason.
it is. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be kind, which is out of character for me in this moment because I think these people need to stop, and they just need to do
Roll up a
better.
newspaper.
Yeah, and like maybe wrap it around a brick and just yeah. But there you go. Different. Let's not do that. It's Friday. We're all feeling good. You know what I
We'll
mean?
rise above it.
We're all feeling happy. We will try. But you're right. That's kind of there is that fun, that kind of freedom with the anonymity of the internet. That because if I go back to my days in restaurants, quite often, like if something's not been great, you'd ask somebody, "How is it? How's everything? Was this good? Was that good?" And they'll say, "Yeah, everything was fine. Everything was cool." When actually, every part about them is going. Actually, no, I didn't really enjoy
Yeah,
that. To be fair, but I'm a bit uncomfortable to kind of to tell
yeah,
you face to face that that wasn't great, and I lose count in over the years of how many times I've sort of said to people, "Look, I've got a mum who's designed to make me feel great about myself. That was her job. That was her function. I don't need you to do that. I'm looking for you to tell me the truth and like if what could we've done to take it from fine to make it to fabulous? And that's
yeah,
kind of the question where you kind of because everybody goes to fine straight away as a starting point. And it's like, okay, well, what do we do to take it from fine to fabulous? That's my question. And then start to kind of get a conversation moving. But it's hard work, man, because people are just face to face. There is a discomfort around it of that just actually saying to you, well, you know what, that thing that you do and you take real pride in. Today, you didn't do really, really well, if I'm honest with you, and I don't really want to tell you that because I don't want to make you sad because people are basically nice, as a rule of thumb. I'm choosing to assume that as a premise. People are fundamentally nice on the whole. Um, but yeah, that's kind of why do you think that freedom exists, Ben? What are your thoughts on it?
For me, it's with positivity and negativity. Positivity is the known, therefore we like it, and negativity is ambiguous. It's unknown. It's unfamiliar. It's a change to the pattern. It's a change to the program. Therefore, we don't, and we want to get back here as quickly as possible. So, if things have upset our expectations, however rightly or wrongly that upset is, the average Joe would look to journey straight back to what they can do to make themselves feel positive in those moments. And it seems to come down to this almost egoic connection to their own position on righteousness. They have wronged me, therefore I must wrong them. And it's nonsense. It's nonsense. And I think a lot of it is kind of embedded within the, I'm going to sound like an old man moaning, an instant gratification culture we live in. You want information? It's there. You want stuff delivered? It's there. You want an artwork delivered to your door? It's there. You want to read a book? Here's the cliff notes. You want music in 5 seconds? Boom, there you go. AI did it for you. This constant, and what it leads to is a lack of emotional intelligence. Because there's a position from I will need fact checking. I think it's Antonio Damasio in his research, but I'm not sure. But it's this idea that customers, when they're going to somewhere, yes, they're buying what they want, but it's for an intended feeling. For some it might be they're going to eat their feelings. For some it might be the experience of something fancy. For some it might
yeah,
be, I don't know, buying their partner or their kid something fun and getting that kind of altruistic feel. So when those feelings aren't validated, it seems to be impossible for the individual to separate the emotion from the decision. And because of this instant gratification culture that we live in, there's no, well, try and be as fair as I can, minimal capacity for critical thinking around the reality of like several hundred good things. Like I'm trying at the moment, just as a digression, I'm a big Scream fan. I love the kind of meta slasher whodunit nonsense of a fun horror movie. That's one of my things in life. And so every time one of these new versions come out, I'm like this with reviewers la 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 la, because the immediacy is that these films don't live up to the expectations that these people have just birthed into imagination. And it just I'll put a lid on it. When people in differing jobs, like I'm going to reference him because he's a what's the most diplomatic word? He's a character, Donald Trump. When he says you're a
I mean, there's
terrible,
another C word. There is
there
another
is,
C word, but
there
we'll
is.
all be nicer.
When he says like you're a terrible reporter, you're not a reporter, so you're in no position to judge what reporting is.
It's
I
only the
need to
quality of it. Yeah.
exactly, and that's the same thing in that situation. These people aren't chefs. Most of them, likely, just given the numbers, they're not business owners, so they have no idea of the other side. So there is just that: how can I make myself feel immediately positive and get back to something that I know? Lack of emotional intelligence for me every time.
Yeah,
Makes me
I,
sad.
I think you're right, and I think it's his sense of ownership as well. If you're charging that amount of money for a cake, you have to, buying it, you have to have a sense of ownership for it. And so, if anything you buy breaks down, who do you blame?
That's always the person who made it. Who
Yeah.
supplied it? Who made it?
And on that point, cakes by post, I've not heard of that before. And I'll tell you what, if I ordered that round where I live, someone down the road would really enjoy that when it's delivered because nothing ever gets delivered to my house.
Postal baking's obviously not the thing for you, Bob. I'll be honest with you.
No, I
But
don't think so.
just like the way that they've done it, like, and again, we're going to sound like an advert, but fundamentally, they have smashed the whole premise from start to finish, like 99% of the time. Even just the kind of the packaging of it, it is perfect. And it's so smart, it's so on brand, and it's so cool, and it comes back to that feeling that when you open it, you are expecting something. The reality is, if you spend like 60 quid on a cake, of course you expect magnificence. That is just a reality of life. Everyone is kind of struggling right now, so anybody
Mhm.
who's kind of spending that amount of money is within their rights. I think I would definitely say to kind of have an expectation that when I open that box, the first thing I see is beauty. The
Mm.
first thing I feel is just joy because I smell that cake as it kind of comes out of there. And the first thing I truly feel is anticipation of the fact that within the next 6 seconds, that cake is going to be out of that box and in me. Easy win, to be honest with you. So you're right. There is this son of this sense of expectation, and I think that's not unreasonable. Like, if I'm really generous, that's not
Mm.
an unreasonable thing.
Mm.
However, what is unreasonable is the idea that you could have something, and you know what? If that's the person's first interaction with that brand, and
Mm.
it's not great, I'd say, yeah, okay, you're probably within your rights to be disappointed and go and express that disappointment. I'd say do it in the right way. Go and speak
Mm.
to the people. Go and give them a chance to correct the problem. If they choose to ignore and not correct, then go to town. Like, do
Mm.
you go all
Mm.
in? But if somebody corrects the issue, then all you can do is say, you know what, that wasn't great, but the way you managed it is on point.
Mm.
So I appreciate that. But if you've been there and you've done it 1,000 times before, even 5 times before, and the 5 times before were great, then just accept the fact that, like,
Yeah.
sometimes people have a bad day
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not everything's perfect. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably one of the challenges that we face in the world is that we expect perfection. We
Yeah.
expect this concept that everything I pay money for and everything I put my energy into, that somebody else is going to deliver for me, will be amazing. And I want amazing. I want perfection, but I am a smart enough dude and reasonable enough fella to be able to recognize the fact that sometimes I'm not getting that. Sometimes, and this is like personal growth, Bob, I'm going to accept the fact that I'm not going to deliver perfection sometimes.
Yeah.
And there are moments where I've cocked it up. Now,
Yeah.
if I cock it up, my intent has got to be about, right, what do I do to fix this?
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
Like, there's been a whole thing this week about kind of intent and impact that
Mm.
like is just it's a huge thing. And like, the intent doesn't have to be bad for sure, but the impact has to be recognized, the fact that like you've
Oh,
disappointed
sure.
somebody. And when I think about kind of those days in operations, I kind of, how was I kind of, I was trying to work out what did we do within our teams and within our businesses to get our people to be connecting with our guests on such a level that they felt guilty for maybe going and bad mouthing us on the internet. And like, genuinely, TripAdvisor was a dark, horrible place back in my day as operations. There was no fun to be had there, because most people who go to TripAdvisor, more often than not, are the kind of people who only go when they've got something negative to say.
Yeah.
Most people aren't going and just saying great things. So it's just, some people, they've got a hobby, and some people are just cool. Like, some people like me, kind of, they're in the business, and you think, what, if someone's done something to make me smile, I'm going to go and tell the world about it because I want them to do better, and to
Mm.
to persuade people to go. But that's quite rare, is the honest answer. So what were we doing? And I think about the kind of the behaviors that we had into place, and really it was emotional manipulation. If I'm honest with you, we would basically connect with those guests, and we would be using their name as quickly as we could,
Yeah.
and we'd be getting to kind of to do that. And it's not about using it every 5 seconds and making them feel weird, because that's just
Oh,
odd,
yeah.
and it freaks people out a little bit, to be fair. I don't know about you, but I think we've all been there, where someone
Yeah.
says your name in an
Oh, yeah.
interaction 17 times in 7 minutes. I'm like, whoa, like, I'm not forgetting it. I'm not confused. It's
Yeah.
okay. Alzheimer's has not taken a grip just yet. And I say yet. So kind of having those moments where you kind of, those little acts of connection are really, really important, because
Sure.
they're the thing that will manipulate. And I've got no shame about saying it as manipulation. I think it just is, to be fair. I want to make sure that everybody walks out the door kind of feeling good about us, whether or not
Yeah.
they've had a great time or something's not been quite right. And I think I've said before, like, genuinely, some of those best guests and those best kind of brand advocates are people that we've cocked it up for, to be fair, because they see how we respond
Mm.
and how we kind of get something right, and we turn it around, and we take ownership, I guess, is the thing.
Mm.
I kind of talk about accountability a lot as well, and I think that's really important when you get something wrong.
Mm.
If you can't be accountable and accept where you've gone wrong, then that customer's going to feel so much more comfortable about getting on, literally pulling out their phone as they walk out of your door, and they're going to Google immediately, and they're standing at your front door and taking a photo for the review with your smiling face, just like,
Mm.
yay, have a good day. Just so,
Yeah.
how would you what tips would you give me, because I'm still out there kind of teaching people how to do this, and it's been a while since I've been in ops. From your perspective, kind of, how do you think people can build that connection, team members can build that connection with their guests, their customers, to really kind of, to minimize the risk, I guess, is the answer. Got any
Uh,
thoughts?
yeah. And
Yes, Kieran.
it's. I'll be honest. It's hard to separate this part from a personal bias, but I can definitely see its implications. There is an implied distance in all kinds of communication. That's like, case in point. Right, case in point, right? We might be, I mean, I doubt it given the people what we are, but we might be different people if this conversation were in person. And so, like, when we do things like cashless operations, QR code service, just tap on this, everything is as depersonalized as it can be from the experience. Order your drinks from the table. No, get up and go and talk to someone. If you have to queue for a couple of minutes, that's the problem that you worry about then, in the queuing, whether it's staff members or access or that kind of thing. I don't know that side of the process, but when you have that many elements stacked up against interacting with, whether it be your server, your manager, or anyone in between, it's easier for the individual, again, however rightly or wrongly, to jump towards the same kind of distance-based communication to make their feelings known. It's like, I mean, when I used to go and get my hair cut before it fell out, I've never been in a barber where they've shown me the back of my head and I've said anything other than, yeah, that's great. I mean, my hairstyles haven't been.
My barber literally said that to me last week. He was just like, "What else are you going to say, Kieran?" I was like, "If I'm honest with you, like, what are my choices in this
What
moment? Like,
what is there to?
it's a
Yeah, that
mid-level
what?
skin fade."
Yeah, that one hair slightly out of place. Can you clip it again for me? But that's the place to do it. That where the multiple access points to interactions in whatever service you are in, where you're talking to a person. Like any
Yeah.
time I go onto a website, they greet me with a chatbot. I want to speak to a human. Yeah, tell me about your problem. Here's my problem. Let me speak to a human. Like that's all I want is talking to a person. I don't want to interact with a machine. And maybe, and it's kind of a postulating maybe because I don't know if we engender that same kind of access to human beings that we had pre-COVID. That's that same kind of human connection. It would feel easier. You'd arguably be more compelled to go and talk to someone if you had a complaint, whatever it is, or a discussion, or a question, or a an inquiry. Um, that's at least my two pennies. How about you, Bob?
Yeah, I just think that it's basic human psychology, isn't it? And the way humans are. I mean, we talk about everyone wants to be seen and heard. And
Mm,
so, but everyone is different within that. You can't just say that across the board, but everyone who comes into anywhere to buy anything will have requirements and expectations. And then those expectations will be from reviews they've seen from the website and all that sort of thing. Especially because I've just booked a restaurant for tomorrow night, and I don't look at the reviews. Although if I do look at the reviews, I'll be very wary about one that's not got any negative ones because there's something wrong there if they haven't got negative reviews because people do like to write negative reviews.
oh, Kieran's got thoughts.
Oh, they're just really good, Bob. Oh, they are just really good.
Yeah, no, I don't buy that because even the best restaurant, there's going to be people who will go there thinking I'm going to show them that they're not that good. There will be. And I'm not saying about loads of negative reviews, and they'll probably be outnumbered like 80 to 1. But I'd be a little bit wary if they had none at all, spread across them, maybe, threes, fours, and fives would be, but when they've all just got all fantastic reviews and there's nothing else, then I would be a bit skeptical about that
It's fair.
because
It is
people
fair.
do like to complain.
What's the line though? Because for me, a 3 is a negative review. That's it. Like,
Oh,
I'm not
you
having
think
that.
so?
Oh, good Lord, yes. If I get a 3, someone's done something wrong, and we got to work out what we need to do better. Because anything less than a 4, 5 on a good day, on a really good day, is unacceptable.
I suppose it's a type of place you're going to, though, as well. I mean, I think it's funny when you said earlier it's fine dining. They accept that, but you say it should be fabulous dining. But if I'm going to like I don't know, like a burger joint, run of the mill chain burger joint, and it's average because it's average for when I've been there before, then I will put a 3 or a 4. If the service is good, then it's probably a 4. But I think I'm of the opinion it's like the happy sheets when you're doing training, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm,
They all want to get home. They're all going to put it's marvelous on it because they just want to get away. And plus, you're there looking at. They know
yeah.
you're going to look at them straight afterwards, and even though they don't put their names on, you know who they are. And there's expectations, isn't there?
One of my
Um,
worst habits, Bob, is staring intently at people when they're filling out the happy sheets. It's just
well, I just don't do them.
say nice things.
Yeah, I just don't do them. But I think you're looking at this from a human psychology point of view, and people have got requirements, like I say, and expectations, but they've also got desires, and their desire probably is in a restaurant is that they will be made to feel like there's something special. Um, and definitely, my last experience was when in Sheffield, when I went to a restaurant. I'd been sitting there for half an hour, and no one had come to me, and then someone came over and said, "You're supposed to do it from the QR code on the table."
Mm.
And I just walked out. I wasted an hour of my life for nothing really. And that's
I
the
mean,
opposite.
what are they thinking in that moment? Just and it's critical thinking again. You said at the start, Ben. This is one of the points where we're really falling short. First of all, if that's their standard of when you sit down, you take care of yourself. Hate that. No, give me the option. You can tell me that I've got the choice to do that, or actually, I'm going to come. You're going to come and take my order for me. I'll always engage with you as a person. But if you've not told me that piece of information, who's responsible in that particular moment? Well, it's not you,
Yeah.
Bob, because
No.
you've just handed yourself over. You've given responsibility of your next 60 minutes worth of your life, which is kind of valuable. Then do something good with it.
Yeah.
Serve some purpose, run with it. Say, I'm going to do something magnificent. I am going to ensure that you walk away feeling fabulous rather than just, I'll assume that Bob knows that he's supposed to order his own food because, well, it's 2026 and we've just come through COVID and it is what it is. No, that's so unacceptable to me. It infuriates me.
Yeah.
How did you respond in that moment, Bob? Other than leaving, obviously, which is the ultimate.
Well,
I'm done.
no, I mean, what happened is, and I won't go, but he came over and he pointed out, talked down to me in a little way that it was actually on the menu at the bottom. But like yourself, I'm aged, and I'm probably more aged than you, and that isn't my template in my brain for how restaurants work. And people have to understand that, that maybe younger people, again, it's knowing your customer, isn't it? If you've got younger people who are used to that, then that wouldn't be a problem. But you've got to know who your clients are and look at them as individual clients when they come in, and make sure that you are servicing them in a way that they would like to be served.
Without doubt. And it comes back to that you talked about kind of people want to be seen and heard. And I've talked about it a lot over the years, seen, heard, and understood. But actually, in my mind, it's flipped now. It's seen, heard, and engaged. And
Yes,
that's what people are desperate to feel.
yes.
So if as hospitality, as restaurateurs, as bar owners, as coffee shop founders, if we're not taking that moment to think about how do I engage people, so before we started, I was talking about this little kind of new coffee shop that's opened up kind of about 10 minutes from me. Omni, it's called. Little Chinese fella, lovely boy he is, and he's opened this shop. It's absolutely cracking. But he does the right thing. He makes the effort to talk to you when you're placing your order. He makes the effort to have a conversation with you when you're kind of out and about. And it's not a huge coffee shop, something like maybe 20 covers. So like he's not doing like figure of 8 laps of his building. He's literally got a figure of 4, and that's about it, to be fair. But he's always looking for the opportunity to have a conversation with you and to take feedback. And if we're not doing that, then we're falling short, is a simple answer. And it blows me away that somebody would just look at you and go, it's on the menu. It's like, well, no, what you've done now is you've made this my problem. And I'm going to be really clear with you. It is not my problem. This is very much your problem, my little friend. Oh,
I
the
think
good people.
if you look
Sorry.
at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I did I've sort of adapted that for for customer facing people, put it that way, and for me, what people really want when they first walk into somewhere is they want approval from someone there. Oh,
Yeah.
you've made a really good choice. And that's the approval they want, because you're offering them a service and you should approve of them for wanting to take that service. And the next one up from that is that you accept them. Like they didn't accept, me for I'm an old bastard and I can't, don't read the menu like that, or understand, even if it's on the menu, what it actually means. So I think at the base end of that sort of 6 A's that I do, they're the two that really need to get straight away, because you only have microseconds to make a first impression. You've got that impression in your head of what you expect, your requirements, expectations, and desires. But as soon as you walk through that door, it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
And it's that breaks it.
It
Not
really is.
everyone will want to have that conversation, like the Americans when they say have a nice day. Now they don't mean it. No, not everyone wants that, but everyone should have the opportunity to let you know what type of conversation they want to have with you. But that's where it goes wrong, where people don't understand. Everyone is different, but everyone is at the base of it have got the same expectations. And that is to be approved of, and to be acknowledged
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
accepted.
It's just not complicated, is it?
Not
It's,
really.
it's really not. And I think, I think back to, when I was talking about kind of how did I get my teams to kind of build that relationship so that people didn't necessarily jump straight to the idea of kind of leaving a negative review for a bad experience. Well, the starting point was helping the team to understand that actually their intent is not always delivered, and the impact of what happens is really the most important thing. Because if the guest, whether or not, nobody in my industry wants to give a bad experience, unless you go to that horrible diner, Karen's diner, where they just shout at you and call you a cretin because that's their jam.
Yeah.
It's one of the rare businesses, I'm not sad to say, they went into administration, because it's a terrible idea. We designed, my industry is about making people feel special. It's about making people feel loved, seen, and making people feel cared for. And all of that stuff you've just talked about, Bob, that when you walk through the door, you just want to feel validated. You want to
Yeah.
feel like I've made a good choice. Well, that's our job, is to make you feel like you've made a good decision. And then you walk out the door, a good decision will be to either go and write a really nice review, or just not write a review at all. Like that's kind of it, to be fair. So getting our teams to really think about the fact that their intent, and I have to say, as a leader, I used to have like a, so what, if there was an issue, I would often be the one that would be going out to be the kind of problem solver and deal with the guest and try and make them feel better. And for a good while, I wasn't conscious, but I apparently used to have a smirk on my face quite a lot. And I should have been aware of it, because I remember my mum as a teenage boy telling me I had a mutinous look. And I think that might be what they were talking about, if I'm honest with you.
Mutinous, what a word.
I don't think it ever left me. But I remember that, like, when I would go and I'd go out into town and talk to people, and my intent is to make them feel better, it's to make them feel good, and it's to solve their issue and to turn it around, so that when all they're thinking about now is actually, yeah, that was great. I feel good in this moment. Like, it might have been crap, but this is now great. That was my intent. But the thing that was happening was the smirk that was on my face, that was not deliberate by any stroke of the imagination, was the thing that was like, I lose count of how, I reckon maybe 10 people said to me, if you don't take that smirk off your face, I'm going to knock it off. And I just remember thinking, that's quite harsh. Am I smirking? Am I smirking? I don't think I'm smirking. And I'm looking around thinking, can someone else kind of validate whether or not I am actually smirking, or whether I was just smiling? Because I thought I was smiling, if I'm honest with you, but they didn't want to smile at that moment because they had the ump. They were frustrated. So what they saw from me is kind of going, like, being warm and friendly, is actually this guy's not taking this shit seriously, and that's unacceptable. So all I'm going to see is I'm going to translate that smile into a smirk, because he thinks he's being a smart ass, and then I'm going to get the ump again a little bit further, to be fair. So that kind of, we have to think about kind of the impact of our actions, whether or not they're kind of unconscious. I mean, most certainly kind of, I had no idea that that's how I was being perceived. Like, you get to the third time of somebody saying, you think, maybe I need to do something about this, because the first one or two, I was like, that's just idiotic, to be fair. That makes no sense at all. I mean, clearly I'm not smirking. I'm a charming, warm, friendly fella who
Sean
only
Connery
cares.
has nothing on me.
Exactly. Nothing, I tell you, nothing. Apparently, that's not true. So 3 times in, you've got to take a step back and think, well, actually, what am I doing? And what's in my mind? And what am I trying to do? And how is that now coming across? Because there was a gap between, again, intent and impact. Intent is, I'm going to make you smile. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to have you feeling like we're best friends. And I reckon in those situations, probably about 99 out of 100 people were like, this guy's lovely. This is amazing. He's fixed this. But the 1 out of 100 who was like, actually, he's a smart ass, smarmy looking dick, and I'd quite like to knock his teeth through his face. They were the bigger problem, because they're the ones who then go and tell the story to anybody and his dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they become the one who wants to entertain the room. That's the thing. They're the ones.
The thing that I've enjoyed about interaction with service-based industries, I'm trying to diplomatically choose my words so I don't drop any particular business in it, lest they be the gambling company where you can place bets 365 days of the year. I can't say enough bad things about them. But this idea that this idea that memory drives loyalty and disloyalty on the other side of it as well.
Yeah.
Look, that's what loyalty and connection is driven by. It's Daniel Kahneman again. It's the
Yeah.
emotional peak. It's the ending.
Yeah.
It's the duration. It's where is the design peak. It's how does the experience close. You know, in interviews, most people will remember the emotional spikes. When I had my interview at that place years ago, yes, you have to go through the formal questions and whatnot, and then they throw you a couple of logic puzzles, and then the best part of it was just having a human to human discussion with the person running the interview, you know, to try and get an understanding about what it is there. I cared less about the job in that moment and more about, well, isn't she cool? She knows how to talk to another person and make them feel seen, make them feel heard. You know, memory in that sense it's not a recording where, you know, as much as we all like to think we've got a clear result of it, if we tell the story again, the memory becomes tactile and it recodes again in a different manner. So it's constantly taken out of tune. We assume somebody's confident story about how shitty their service was is an exact reflection of what it is, because they tell it so distinctly and so
Yeah.
driven
With
when
passion and with
that's
vigor and with yes.
exactly like it's not even a fair representation of it. So understanding that when I'm speaking to someone, you know, if it is that I'm providing a service in the moment, or I'm teaching, or in these situations, whatever it is, I'm trying to speak to, as philosophically as it sounds, I'm trying to speak to their memory. If they go away with the content, awesome, that's great. You know, I'll take that as a secondary win. But I want them to kind of have an enjoyment of that moment with me, because when you have enjoyment of it, you connect to it, and your memory works of the experience anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's less cognition, it's less taxing on all of the other things that you have to worry about. If it is the, and don't get me wrong, I know I'm a member of the human race, but I'm not a fan of them by any stretch of the imagination. But that's very much a Ricky Gervais line. But in that moment, connection, sincere, you know, you can sincerely connect with somebody who wants to complain in the same manner that you can connect to somebody that wants to give you a wonderful review. So long as it's done with integrity and with intent and with sincerity, that situation is going to go a lot better than you just going through the motions. Fill in this form, we'll take it down, we'll send you out a voucher or whatever it is. This is why this is why I said earlier, I've got kind of a personal bias around the depersonalization properties of the whole experience. If I can go out of my way to put my face in front of somebody during the moment, I'm going to, because most of my communication revolves around this way, and emails and text messages and phone calls. So I want them to know me rather than any piece of content or some clever idea or whatever it is. There was this process that I can't, oh sweet irony, I can't remember where I got it from, but the process stuck with me. It was compliment, introduction, question.
Yeah.
And that works in the same vein. You know, I've been in more than enough de-escalation situations as a doorman, and you think, how do you pay someone a compliment in that situation when they're trying to kick off? You know,
Yeah.
mate, I can see you're very passionate about what's going on. It's arguably the simplest Chris Voss method that there's ever been.
Yeah.
You know, I could see you're very passionate about what's going on, but I'm on the doors this evening. So if you could just come outside and tell me what's happening. I don't really know. I wasn't there.
Done.
Just in the same way that you can walk up to someone and go, that is a phenomenal hat you're wearing. I'm jealous because I look to try and wear them every time to try and cover up the bald. My name's Ben. What can I do for you? You know, those types of things. When I used to work as a close-up magician years ago, you have to make friends with people instantly. I go over and I go, welcome everyone. My name's Ben, and as you can quite clearly see, I'm the stripper for the evening. Wait for the moment to die down. Who's up for some magic, or whatever the opening line is? And just roll into that, but speak to memories. And I'm trying to keep it scientifical, clinical, than philosophical. Speak to memory processes in that
Mhm.
moment. It's a great way of navigating the whole experience.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
um
I adore the
so
fact that you were a close-up magician. I'm here for that.
yeah, I spend
How did I
I
not
mean
know that about you?
Uh, well, it was kind of relevant to what we were saying earlier about the cake guy. Actually, there is this idea with mentalists, specifically the guys that pretend to read minds, that you can be too perfect. So if you ask somebody to think of something, and by virtue of the trick or whatever it is, you already know what it is. So if you just tell them it's grey elephants in Denmark or whatever it is, it's too perfect. It invites disbelief by being too perfect. So if you install a little doubt as part of the routine, get something wrong on purpose, put some kind of pseudo process to it, whatever it is, it invites a little more openness to get on the side of the performer. This guy's trying, it could go wrong. I mean, yes, you still get the dicks, but that's because they've had like 7 or 8 beers by then, so that's probably going to happen. But 9 times out of 10, that too perfect analogy welcomes people to you when you just add a little bit of doubt. This is why I thought with the little wonky corner, and if you have a cake with a wonky corner, it goes in there. It's like, oh, okay, these guys are humans.
Yeah.
you know, if you go to, I've never been to one, so I'm about to speak entirely out of turn. If you go to a Michelin starred restaurant, you would expect perfection because it's Michelin starred, too perfect. And so if something was whatever it takes to be out of order in a Michelin starred restaurant, that might be a little bit more stand out because they can't invite the doubt because of the Michelin stars. you know
Yeah.
um so yeah, what I was going to press you, a gentleman, for is your closing thoughts. We've got into kind of a habit of doing like a Jerry Springer's final thoughts roundup type of thing that you would like everyone listening to go away with, in their knowledge.
First of all, I'd just like to celebrate that reference for the kids there. That's hit the mark quite beautifully with a certain demographac. They will not have a
Jerry,
clue what we're
Jerry,
talking about.
Jerry, Jerry, Jerry.
Let us fight. Terrible, absolutely terrible idea. Also, I can't fight, so I reckon you both absolutely have me. To be fair, so that's no good to anybody. But what's the final thought? Oh, that's a good one. You know what? Actually, just it is quite simple, really. If you've been somewhere and you've had a whole load of good times and they've made you smile, even once, twice, 10 times before, give them a little bit of latitude and just kind of accept the fact that
Yeah.
none of us are perfect and give them the opportunity to get it right. But the only way people can be given the opportunity to get something right when it's gone wrong is if we tell them, and if we tell them calmly and rationally, and just give them the facts is the simple answer. And when you give somebody that and you give them that information, if they do something with it, something positive, then say thanks very much and feel free to leave the review and say, you know what, this wasn't great, but the way it was handled was on point. It was
Mhm.
really, really good. Because that, comes back to your idea, Bob, of like, if the reviews are too good, then you don't want to go there. Well, the reality is, if someone says, actually, this was a disaster, but this is
Yeah.
what they did to turn it around, all of a sudden, what that gives you is that clarity and that comfort that even if something does go wrong, on the
Mhm.
rare chances that things do, somebody's got a plan to make it better. So just be cool, be nice, and treat yourself to a Michelin star restaurant, dude. It'll just change the game for you. It really will.
Amazing.
At some
Can't
point,
wait.
you're going to come to Nottingham, and we will go and we will eat Michelin star food at Al Camellia in Nottingham, which is one of my
Oof.
favourites, and it will
I,
change your life.
I'll hold you to it. So yeah, thank you.
It's got to happen. But yeah, man, just be nice. Like something goes wrong, Just accept the fact that we all make mistakes.
Mm,
Give
mm.
somebody a chance to turn it around. And if they turn it around, say thank you very much. If they choose to do nothing with it and leave you feeling disappointed, where after 30 minutes you've just been like, well, you've just made this my problem, then tell the world. I'm okay with that, because we got to own that.
Mm.
And from people, for teams within hospitality, remember the fact that just because your intent wasn't negative doesn't mean that the impact isn't negative. And the world is a beautiful place, and it's a complicated thing, and two things can be true at once:
Mhm.
that you didn't want to do it, but you did do it. So own it, accept it, and fix it. That's it.
Love that. Bob, how about you?
Mic drop.
Yeah, I think when I said about reviews, and I would be skeptical if there wasn't any bad one. The other thing that I should have maybe added to that is that we have expectations, so we won't necessarily write good reviews. So if you are getting good reviews, then you have been bloody good, because a lot of people just, if they're paying that money, will think, well, that's what I expect. And so, yeah, take that in mind. Also, another thing you said, Kieran, about not knowing yourself, and I think that's important for a lot of people in all industries, is you have to know yourself before you start knowing how others are responding to you, because so much of what they're doing back to you is what they see in you, this theory of like the looking glass. And so be very aware of that. But I think to finish it off with what Ben said, which is basically what I said, you've always get the dicks.
Just a fact.
Yeah.
They happen.
And a world
They
without them would, in fact, be quite dull.
I mean, a fair assessment. If you know, if there are any dicks listening, if you could just learn to just dial it down on polite request, that would be great. So, guys, if you've got anything out of today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in live if you're there, but to a kind of a change to our proceedings, we are away next week, right? Bob and me are away solving crimes, getting cats out of trees, regular superhero stuff. And then the following week, on March 10th, I believe it is, which is a Tuesday, we start regular proceedings in the evening. All right, we'll share more specific updates in the group as well. It seems to be that this time wasn't as congenial for all our listeners. We heard that feedback, we took it on board, and we fixed it to allow everyone access to join in live if they want to. Of course, you don't have to, but the door remains open should you choose to. All right, all the lovely little links for everything, and including Kieran's stuff for that boy speaking, if I might paraphrase his handles, will be down in the description box as well, when this goes out as a wonderfully polished piece later on today. So with that in mind, thanks again, Kieran, for joining us, and we will see you again very soon for another episode, guys. Take it easy. Bye-bye.